What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be continuing the much anticipated and loved series I have been doing, the How Strong Are These Straw Hats series. This time I specifically will be doing How Strong is Franky. I also am going to be keeping this video a little bit shorter and more condensed than the majority of my How Strong Is videos, since this video will be going up on Tekking's charity stream and I don't want to take up too much of a time slot, so it will be a little bit shorter than usual. So when it comes to Franky, people seem to have ideas all over the place of where exactly his power levels lie. He started very strong when he was first introduced in the Water 7 saga. He even challenged Luffy to a duel, and some people seem to think that he was kind of stalemating Luffy. I don't think that's the case at all. I don't even think Luffy was really taking the situation seriously, but that's beyond the point, I guess. Moving on to after the time skip, I think that overall he is a pretty powerful character as far as the entire world goes. However, if he is supposed to be in a position of a kind of commander on a Yonko's crew, then I think he is lacking a little bit. He's going to need to get a lot stronger if he's going to be able to fill a position like that. Like if we were to compare Luffy's crew to Big Mom's, let's say, then of course the monster trio, the current Sanji, Zoro, and Jinbei would be like the sweet commanders, and the rest of them would be kind of like the sub-commanders like Oven and Daifuku and whatnot. And of course, I think most people would agree that Franky is not quite at that level yet. I'm not saying it's like easy to accomplish or something, but if he's going to be considered near them, he's going to at least need to have some kind of grasp on Haki. I mean, it is a requirement for all Vice Admirals, and I don't consider most of the Vice Admirals we've seen to be that powerful in the first place, so that's going to be a good starting point for him. He does, however, have some insane, inhuman advantages thanks to his cyborgy-like self. Of course, there are some downsides to that as well, but they do give a pretty big help, and I would say in terms of like abilities and powers, he probably is the best on the crew except for the monster trio. I think that his cyborg skills and abilities really do help him quite a bit, and without him, he'd really be lacking. He may not have armament Haki, but at least defensively speaking, he has something very similar, which is the entire front part of his body being basically armored. Now, of course, as we know, from behind, he's completely vulnerable. However, if you are fighting in a battle, you should generally be facing your opponent if you're trying to win. If you're trying to win, then you're not going to be running away, right? So in terms of how he matches up against people in an actual combat scenario, that is a huge help. Another huge advantage to his fighting style is that it is very versatile, right? I mean, he is very physically powerful and can handle people at close range and is armored, like I said, but he also has many different options for fighting at a distance, such as like shooting anything. I mean, he could shoot his goddamn arms off if he wants to, or he could be shooting lasers, many different range type of abilities. So in his current base form, I think he does have a lot of options, and despite not having Haki like you kind of seem to need to in the new world, he really does make it work with his different abilities and whatnot. Now, the thing we got to talk about, though, okay, well, we've talked about how he is in his current base form, but that is not what everyone always wants to be talking about. Of course, there was going to be a point in this video where I have to discuss General Franky. So this is a really weird one, because whenever I talk about larger characters and whatnot, I always disclaim that I think that them being large doesn't necessarily give them an overall advantage. I mean, like we've seen with Luffy against the giant in the Colosseum, that didn't really work out too well, right? I mean, he was too big and Luffy was just fast and small. He couldn't really keep up, and Luffy absolutely destroyed him. And there's got to be some kind of strength advantage, I guess, to being a giant or something. However, as far as we're seeing, like, these people who are just like a little over 5 feet tall, like Luffy or something, can pretty much like destroy entire cities with one punch or something. I mean, it's like, does it really make that big of a difference? However, we have not even seen what I believe to be a fraction of General Franky's capabilities, and I am really hyped up about it. I think it's going to have a lot of tricks, just like Franky in his own form has. I think he kind of did the same thing with General Franky, and it's going to have a lot of different abilities. I mean, guys, it has a katana, for God's sake. Like, what's even going on with that? I love it. I can't get enough. Of course, he's not particularly good at using the sword, but it's awesome, right? Like, it's gonna work. I know he's gonna make it work. And realistically, okay, there's going to be a lot of options. I mean, at the very least, he is in an armored unit, so if it is damaged, he's not going to be taking damage himself, so that just does give him some kind of advantage. I'm assuming that he also has more reserves then, right? Because the problem he runs into a lot of the time is that he runs out of cola, so he's not able to work as effectively. However, if he has this thing already charged up while he's using it, he will be reserving his own cola, so that would be a good thing. I really wish we had seen more of General Franky's capabilities, both so I would have more to discuss and analyze in this particular video, as well as because I want to see it. It's going to be fucking awesome. But I'm sure we will get more in the future, and it is going to prove to be a massive asset to Franky. But then that does pretty much go through all of his different abilities and powers that are worth noting, and I guess I should tell you where I rank him among the Straw Hats. Of course, I did say I would be doing these videos in the order of how strong I think they are, so what I do have is, of course, Luffy, and then Zoro, Jinbei, Sanji, Brook, Robin, and then Franky. That's where I think he is in these Straw Hats. I know a lot of people like to put him higher, maybe even above both Brook and Robin. Of course, he's not going to be stronger than the top 4, but that's where a lot of people I've seen do like to put him, but I think he is not quite as strong as Brook for sure, and Robin's really debatable. I'm not sure on that one. I also would not put him at Yonko Sub-Commander at this point, like, you know, Tamago, Oven, Daifuku, Perispear, all those kind of guys. I wouldn't put him there quite yet. I'd put him more around like the lower Vice Admirals we've seen, if that's even a thing, if you know what I'm talking about. Pretty much like the randoms that showed up in Dressrosa. I would assume he's about there, despite not having Haki. They don't really necessarily need to be that proficient in it anyway, so I think he could definitely be around there. However, I will say this, even though I put him a little low right now in terms of the rest of the world, I would say by the end of the series, he is certainly going to be at sub-commander level. I would say probably within the stronger half of them at the very least, right? So definitely like Oven and Daifuku level, maybe even slightly stronger than that. I think that's where we'll see Frank. So with that all being said, let's wrap this up. Like I said, I did want to make this a lot shorter of a video because there's a good chance that you're going to be watching this on Tekking's charity stream right now. If you are, make sure to enjoy the stream, like it, maybe send in a donation for the cause. Thank you very much, Tekking, for having me on this stream. It is great fun. I love watching the stream. I guarantee I'm watching this right now, so yeah. I'll talk to you later, guys.